Right, so now I've got the two Playfields clamped together. The old one's on the top there with the new one underneath. So basically, all these holes here, I'm satisfied, as you can see everything lines up there. All of the holes that I've got exposed. And in there as well. So now all the holes that are missing around the chair and all of these other post holes, I can drill straight through. I'll just use a jig to make sure it's upright when it's when the drill's going down, but using this as a guide it shouldn't be a problem. So I've just got to crack on with that, although I've just realised it's 10:30 at night and I haven't played pinball yet, so I'm off for a bit of Spider-Man, so back to this tomorrow. It can wait. So I've just separated the two Playfields and checked all the holes that I've drilled. They all look very good. As you can see, nice neat holes, exactly in the right places compared to the old Playfield. Done them a tiny bit smaller than the posts so that we can knock them in and get a real snug fit on it. But overall, very happy with that. So now I'm going to go over and deal with all the loom and try and clean that up and sort all the solenoids out on it. So now I've got the wiring loom placed back on here again. What I'm going to do is basically go through it a strand at a time, remove all of these solenoids, just clean them all up, polish all the plungers up, and basically get them looking nice. So I do each one at a time and clean all the wiring loom as I go down, sort of taking these clips off, cleaning it and put it back on. Basically I just spray it with this foaming cleaner. I find that works really well and brings it all up nicely. So basically just give it all a good clean up so that when we put it back on the Playfield, then it's not going to transfer all this dirt and all the crud that it's got on it at the moment. And hopefully it'll all come together nicely. We can also, while we're at it, we can clean up all these bowl holders, all silly little bits and pieces like that. For example, there you can see all the filth on the pop bumper solenoid there. We just need to take all that apart and clean all of them up as we go. So that's it. Nice time consuming. I should imagine that's going to take sort of, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours to work all the way through that properly. So I will see you later. So now I've got all the wiring loom cleaned up. Basically we're going to install it back on the Playfield. Before we do that, we need to put all these captive nuts back on. They go on the rear of the Playfield. The smaller ones go on the lane return guides, and all the larger ones goes in where the holes are recessed. These ones here, once they're hammered in, they have little spikes on them to keep them in place, and then we just put one nut behind here, or one bolt, sorry, just to hold them in place and keep them down. But these other ones are just kept in place on their own because they're recessed. And basically we're lucky here because I've got the old Playfield, and we can see, you see the 3 spikes there, and I've put an L there just so that I know and note for myself that it's a larger one for when they all go back on. So I'm going to hammer them in place, and then I'm going to put the wiring loom back on and start putting that in place. Okay, so that's all those bits hammered in, as you can see, and now I've laid the wiring loom back over the top with it all cleaned up. Put it roughly back in place and just started fixing all the bits back in there. This is when we find out if all the little holes work. They've been okay so far, like for example those micro switches are on the return lanes are working okay, they're just right. A lot of the bits, like these leaf switches for the slingshots, I'll replace them once I've got everything back in place, and obviously all the stand-up targets are still the original ones down there, and all the bulbs and that, so I take them out as I go, and I'm going to replace them later once I've got the Playfield up the other way, just because I find it easier once it's all running to replace them, because I can test each one individually. But I'd like to get all this back on and know it's all working before I start messing about with those. So yep, just a few hours work poncing about with this now, and then we can start on the other side. I've now placed the Playfield upright, basically so I can get to both sides, so I can feed a lot of these bits through. As you can see, I've screwed all of these bits in position, and things like most of the magnets and that, just so the wiring loom's supported. So a lot of the major components are in, and now I can screw on back things like the flipper mechanisms, etc., and just get all the other bits in place. So basically I can get to everything now. Okay, so I've just started reassembling all these parts here. These are all the new pop bumper bodies and skirts, and the new connectors there for the lights. Just going to go and switch going to start needing all the bolts we put in the tumbler before, so let's switch that off and see what some of these came out like. So they've been in there for 4 or 5 days now, so you can see how dirty all this media's got. Let's see what we can dig out. There's the return. Don't know how well we can see that in there. Pretty shiny. What else can we find? Some of the ball guides there, look, as you can see, they clean up really well. You can almost see a reflection of the ceiling there. So basically now I've got to drag all of this stuff out of here, and there's a ball. Didn't realise I put that in there. There we go. But as you can see, if I get what have we got, a nut, although it's difficult to see because it's got the bit in. That is quite shiny, so well worth the effort to put all of those in there. So now basically I've got to dig all of these out of here, make a big pile out of them. What I do is grab all the main bits out, and then I've got a magnet, and I just root around like that, see, and it comes out with loads of bits. So otherwise you'll be there forever and you'll have absolutely filthy hands. So I've got to spend 20 minutes digging all that out now. Cheers. It's amazing, you think you've got all the bits, but I still keep finding them, so I've actually switched this back on, and now if I just dip the magnet in there while it's running around, and I've been doing this for a while. There's another couple there. And another one. So all of that media now, that's absolutely filthy. I don't know, I've got some new stuff here. You can see what it's like before it goes in. It's like this green colour, which is sort of untreated but really clean, and basically that colour there is all the dirt and the filth off of it. So we can't use that anymore, because basically I think that would make the next lot dirtier than the stuff that goes in. But as you can see from that, a lot of lovely clean shiny bits there. They look very nice when they're all back on, so we're happy with that. Right, following the strip down, I found 3 bits that need welding. This is the bit of equipment that returns the ball when the thing hand grabs the ball. This is what fires it back up to the swamp for it's ready to start multi-ball. Basically the solenoid sits in this bit here, and that's become completely detached. It's meant to have little lugs that fit into those little holes there, but they've completely snapped off, so we've got to weld that back onto there. This is actually the swamp bit that come out of the swamp, and this is the kickback that returns the ball. Basically they've broken off of there, those tabs. They're not too bad. None of these bits are seen, luckily, so it's not too bad. And this is the chair kick out return, so that's where the ball fires back out of the chair from there, and obviously over the years that's taken a pounding, and that's all got to be put back on and clamped into place and welded. So drag the old welder out there. I'm going to get cracking on it. Okay, that's everything clamped in place there. Got a nice bit of wood down there, hopefully it'll catch fire. Look like we've been on Top Gear or something, so here goes. That's that side successfully on. We'll just that out. Turn it around. We don't need to clamp that side because that's already in place. Okay, we're just going to have, we've got this one clamped so these bits are shut, but we're going to have to hold that up so that it meets the edges properly. Lovely. So this is a swamp eject after it's been cleaned up. It's obviously looking a lot tidier now. Got all the welds cleaned up. Quite often you get a thing called bluing when you weld stainless steel, which is kind of like motorbike exhaust pipes. If you know what they go like, you need a special polish for that. I use this one here called Blue Away. It's very good for getting rid of all those sort of marks. So as you can see, that's cleaned up nicely. It was absolutely filthy inside. I put money on it that it'd never been cleaned since the day it was installed. I don't know if we can get inside this one if I hold that under the light to see the kind of dirt that's in this one, but I don't know, that must be, apart from the track in the centre where the ball's been, there must be, I don't know, nearly a millimetre thick of dirt in there. I don't know if it will zoom right in, but yeah, that is pretty disgusting. I don't think this machine has been well maintained in its life, to be honest, but it's going to have a better life now. So just got to clean the other two parts up and then they're ready to fit back on the machine. Okay, as you can see, I've got quite a lot of things back on the playfield now. A lot of the ball guides around the top are back in position. They're all nicely cleaned up. A lot of elbow grease for them because obviously they won't fit in the tumbler. So we've got a lot of the posts back in position. A few extra holes I've had to drill in there that weren't in place. I missed with my little template I made earlier, but not too bad overall. A lot of the things, you know, fitted well, like those ball guides, etc. They've gone in nicely, so going quite well. All of the stuff on the back's on. Well, the vast majority of it there. All the wiring's in place, looms back in, and all the majority of the solenoids, flippers, etc. are all back. So now I'm going to take a break from that because the next major component I need to put back in is the bookcase. If you remember, it was all cracked, and obviously it's like the rest of it, it's absolutely filthy, so I'm going to need to completely disassemble that, which is going to take a bit of time because obviously it's got all the optos and all sorts of other silly bits in it that need carefully taken apart and putting back together. So get on with that, bolt that back in place in the playfield and then crack on with it. Okay, so now as you see, I've got most of the bits on it, all the plastics and that, all the pop bumpers, everything's wired up. There's a few little bits waiting to go on. All the ball return down here and that's waiting, but I want to be able to lift it off of the where it's sitting so that I can get all the catches on that hold the playfield in position. So now I've got to do the next main thing, which will take a little while. Stripping this old ramp down and putting all the stuff on the new one. It'll take quite a while because all these bits have got to be polished up as well, so it'll all come off one bit at a time and then I can sort of clean it up, tie it all together and get all the wiring neat so that it goes onto the new ramp. So I'll get on with that and then fit it to the game and then we're almost ready to put the playfield back in. So as you'll see, I've got most of the bits fitted up now, and there's obviously all the ramp, which was the last thing to go back on, has been put on with all the new decals, all the switches etc. swapped over. All of the major bits are on now. There's a few little odds and sods, but basically everything's back. I've still got some bits to do on the bottom here because obviously this is placed down on here, so I can't put the hooks back in that go that hook back in and stop the playfield from collapsing into the cabinet. And also the little plates that the apron hooks back into as well. So what I'm going to do now is lay the playfield on its sides so I can fit those bits and you know, the solenoid that returns the balls and fires the balls out into the in lane, and get all those back together, and then I think we'll be ready to put it back in and connect it all up. So I better crack on. Okay, so as they say in car manuals, replacement is a reversal of the removal procedure. So I'm going to grab the playfield here, put it in place. Hopefully I'm not going to look like I'm too unfit or it's too much effort, although it is quite awkward shape, and obviously I've got to locate it onto these lugs here, so let's see how it goes. Normally my wife would come and help me, but she refused to come on and be filmed doing it, so I'm going to have to do this on my own, which is why I put the wiring loom over the top here, so once I get it, click it into place, then I can sort of throw it back down into the cabinet. That's the plan anyway. So here goes nothing. Watching this nice shiny cabinet. Okay, so now that's located on the there we are, not too many dramas. So basically now that should lower back into place if those lugs are in the right place. Yeah, that's good enough. So basically now feed all the wiring loom back up through into the box and start reconnecting everything, and then we can switch it on, see if anything goes bang, hopefully. Okay, so that's everything connected back up, and now comes the dreaded moment of switch on. We'll see how well we've done, or badly. So it's bound to throw a few faults up. I'll switch it on at the wall first. That would be good. Let's see what happens. Looking good. Everything's seen. All the lights have come on anyway, so I've got some faults. I'll probably just switches, so if we go into test mode, we can just go around and clear all of them, except there's one not working, it's probably not plugged in, so but I haven't plugged that one back in underneath. Yeah, as they're all out, schoolboy error, bound to happen. If that's all I've missed out, I'll be shocked. That's better. Okay. Let's see what we've still got. See if it comes up with a dot on the free play. Wait for it, it's exciting this. Yes, there is one there somewhere. I think okay, so these are ones. Oh, that's only the one, so we should be able to clear that if I've got that wired up. I don't get my finger smashed off. Oh, that's, sorry, kick out's down the back. So, okay, we'll sort that one out, but all in all, very happy with that. Everything's back on, so now I need to get the final things buttoned up. I've left the, I need to put the box back on the back of thing, get all the apron back on, and then basically I can put a ball on here and throw it all around. I'm physically not going to play it until the owner comes back to pick it up, because I think that ought to be his privilege really, but basically I'll just throw a ball around, make sure everything works, everything kicks out, and everything gets awarded that should, and just put all the finishing touches to it. So another couple of hours to go on there, and we'll come back after that. Okay, so I'm all done now, everything's been checked over, everything's all working. Sort of put a few balls around the playfield to make sure it works okay, adjusted all the flippers. Not really had many problems with it. Mainly I had a problem with the bookcase, was intermittently opening and not opening. Turned out to be a dry solder joint on one of the PCBs under the playfield. This row of switches didn't work on the Swamp, but I'd soldered, that one was down to me, I'd soldered a wire on to the wrong tab on the first one, and because they daisy chain in and out the cables, it took the whole bank out. So basically that was just one wire. So it was all good apart from that. Pretty happy with it. You know, that was the only fault to be found. So as you can see now, it's all nice and shiny. As you can see from the strip lights reflecting in the playfield above it. So all ready to go to its new home. I reckon it's probably, I've kept a bit of a rough log on it, and I reckon I'm between 95 to 100 hours work on it to change that over. A bit longer than you would normally, but we had the problem with all the playfield not being dimpled, etc. So that's it, all ready to go to its new playfield, new owner, and I've got my next project lined up, which I'm going to rip my Star Trek apart there, which is absolutely horrendous. So that's the next project. Not as complicated as a complete playfield swap, but looking forward to that. But as for the old Addams family, it's going to go back to its rightful owner and hopefully bring my Apollo 13 back. So that's it, I'm off for a beer. Cheers guys.